Here with the Houston Chronicles, John McClain. John, of course, the Broncos' big free agent pickup this offseason was Case Keenum. What are Broncos getting with him?
Well, first of all, that move's got Gary Kubiak's fingerprints all over it. John Elway wouldn't have done that if Gary hadn't signed off on it. And I know how respected Gary is in Denver. And players will fall in love with Case because of his personality, his work ethic. He's very smart. In the playoffs, before the divisional round, I did a big in-depth story on him, but I didn't talk to him. We'd already done a story. I called 4 coaches that had him along the way. Cliff Kingsbury at the University of Houston, where he was magnificent, Bill O'Brien, Gary Kubiak, and Jeff Fisher. And Fisher, who had him with the Rams like 3 times, talked about from the moment he walks in and his teammates find out what kind of character he has and work ethic, he will get instant credibility. And now they've got one of the greatest plays in NFL history to see. Before, there wasn't any sustained tape in which Case played really well over a period of time. Last year's about opportunity. I'm so happy he got the contract. I'm glad he went to the Broncos. I love the Broncos in Denver. It's a perfect fit for him. And I'm sure he's on cloud 9. He'll pick up the system. The coaches will respect the heck out of him. He'll be a coach when his career's over. His dad's a high school coach in Texas. So every Bronco fan and every Bronco player and the media will fall in love with Case because he's cooperative, he's nice, he's not a BSer. He will always be there to do interviews. So there is nothing bad that comes from the Case Keenum signing.
Last year was, of course, his breakout year. You think, obviously, you're a big fan of his, but you think that was just the start of things for him?
You like to think it was. He paid his dues. He bounced around. He never had a defense like he had. He didn't have receivers. He didn't have overall talent. And he had Pat Shurmur, who focused his offense on Case once Case stepped in for Sam Bradford. And the Broncos are going to have to do the same thing. I'm sure they see that tape, and they won't just have him drop back in a pocket because he's short. You know, Gary's old offense where you roll right and left, that would be tailor-made, but they wouldn't have signed him if they don't know how to use him. Most money he'd ever made was last year, 1-year deal for $2 million. Now he and Kimberly, their family's taken care of forever, and I'm guessing the Broncos will still draft another quarterback, so he could be a one and done, but I hope when he gets the opportunity with the Broncos, because they have everything in place, that he will excel the way he did in Minnesota, and life could begin for him at 30.
The Broncos have already named him the guy, the starter going into OTAs. What kind of difference do you think that'll make for just his mental makeup?
He can handle any situation. Fisher told me when I did that story, he said Case has this uncanny ability to adjust to any situation, to any offensive system. And so having him come in there and take over from the get-go, everybody knows he's the man for now, is important to him. If they draft a guy with that first pick, he will do everything he can to help that guy play and take his job, because that's the kind of guy he is.
John, while I have you here talking to everybody about Broncos owner Pat Bowlen, what do you think his impact on the league has been, and do you think that this might be the year that he finally gets into the Hall of Fame?
I hope that Pat gets in the Hall of Fame. His impact on the NFL has been enormous. Number one, what he did for the Broncos. He got the new stadium, the success he had with John Elway, then promoting John from the Crush to the Broncos turned out to be a brainchild. And so Pat's going to get in at some point. Problem is there's a lot of competition. 1 year there's 1 contributor. Next year there's 2. I hope this is the year Pat Bowlen finally gets recognized the way he deserves.
John, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.